get started. Thank you for coming. I'm going to show you that how great these phones are. I'm going to use this for my notes as well as paper. So, again, thank you for coming. The idea came from actually Dean Lynch, who thought that he's active on Facebook. If you go to Dean Lynch, you'll see photos of him wearing a bow tie and a plaid suit. I mean, his friends have been posting on there photos of him from the 70s, and that caused him to use Facebook a little more, and then he's been noticing that a lot of legislators, state and federal legislators, also use Facebook, and so he became friends with them, and that's really how he communicates with a lot of our state legislators now, through Facebook or rather than email. So he'll send them a personal message through Facebook or email, and he gets responses back almost instantly. It's like they get it on their phone, they send it back. Anyway, I don't know how many of you have done public relations on your own before, but it used to be, the traditional way used to be newspapers, radio, television, print journalism. Maybe they would call you for a comment on an issue, and maybe you could slant your quote to fit your interest or the board's interest. Maybe you would write a press release and pitch it to the newspaper, or pick up the phone and call a reporter you know or an editor you know. But editors, reporters always they didn't always relay your message, what you wanted to say. Yeah, if they can. And sometimes you might not have a great relationship with the publisher or editor, so it's very hard to reach the citizens or constituents with your message, the message you want to relay. Anyway, so nowadays it's changed. We don't have to rely on third parties to relay our message, to relay our platform, to reach our constituents, to reach the community. There's so many other ways, and today we're going to share several of those ways with our speakers here. Email blasts. And how many of you have an email directory with constituents, like their email addresses? Could you tell me how many are on your list?
A lot of small districts, I guess I have 1,200, but there's 700 households. I only have 100 on my email list, but that's because I have to go to work really hard.
That's very good.
And I send it out always. You'll make this point, I'm sure, but I always send it out as blind copy.
Yes,
I don't send it out so that everybody gets it.
I send it out to you all, and it's always blind copy because you don't want to give away people's email. How many of you?
Oh, I'm just getting mine done.
And you just started. Just started? Great, great. Scott York, Loudoun County, told me yesterday that he had 7,500. Blew me away. But anyway, email blast, and as you see, newsletters. That's a great way. And you'll find, I think Kathy will explain that it's not very hard. You all can do this. You have a computer at home and just take a few minutes to learn the software. You all can learn this. All right, so for our speakers, Kathy Hutchins. Let me say a little bit about you. She was elected to the Fairfax County Board in 1999. She's in her third term now. She represents one of the largest districts in her county. Maybe you might not know this, but she'll be VACO president tomorrow. And Kathy, how long have you been on the VACO board?
I've been on the board now 12 years. Yes, 12 years.
So VACO board, 12 years. She's also chair of the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority Board. That's huge, right?
It's the Regional Transit Board for Washington.
She uses a variety of media to communicate her message. Today she'll talk about public relations at a large county and her newsletter. Please welcome Kathy Hutchins.
How do I get on full screen?
Yeah, let me go back to you. And I'll
Well, as Paige indicated, I have the opportunity of having both Fairfax County that does its public relations piece that's countywide. And then I think I'm different than the other board members, that we all have an individual piece that we use out of your district. My district is 126,000 residents right now. That was new redistricting numbers, and I'll continue to grow. And so the real issue is how do you keep in touch? How to keep people informed. I've always done a newsletter, and that's why I passed it out. When I did a newsletter earlier, it was just a couple of pages because you just couldn't send out tons of information. And the breadth of what I've learned, and I do have support from my staff in the office because we're a large office. We have 6 people that work for us, or 5 people I have right now. So we do lots of communication, lots of working with citizens. And part of one or two person's job is to help with that communications piece. And I tell you, just gotten through an election, and the thing that I hear when I walk around, thanks for sending me out that information. What we send is the newsletter once a month, but we send an e-blast after every board meeting. And the e-blast basically talks about the things that happen. I'm going to go through these first very quickly. Fairfax is a large organization, so we have a public affairs department, and they help communicate information about the county through all of these various sources. We use the cable network. Board members do their cable show once a month, and I usually go in and take one, 2 every other month, and that way we get communications out. It's a wealth of information that can be re-shown and can be used there. And I guess the other most important one that we are continuing to build is the emergency piece. And that's the piece that comes across to the citizens. All you need to do is subscribe, name the September storms, anything, traffic, whatever. You'll get an email and it says, hey, this is what's happening on Route 7, this is what's happening on the Beltway, this is what's happening, to go there. Each of those pieces can be seen through the web page, and you can skip through Gage all the way through the other. I wanted to focus on this one for us. Like I said, I've always done a newsletter, and as communication tools have improved, it allows you to pass out much more information in a convenient way. As I said, that newsletter, press releases we have our own web page. I noted the video. And now I'm in the social media piece too. We have our Facebook, our Twitter, or whatever. Everything is there. I use the newsletters and the e-blast to really stay in contact. And really, anybody who comes onto my web page, you can submit a constituent request or anything that gives your email. We send it out and we say, we send you the first piece. It might be the e-blast after the board meeting. And it suddenly says what the information is. We have the unsubscribe. If you're not interested, you can unsubscribe this. That way you don't have to sort through which emails to use. Most people keep getting it. I find people who came from other part of the county, they wanted to talk to me about something, they're still getting it from the first day they emailed me. And the information is the key part of it. The addresses are continue to build. Basically indicate the 5,600 there. We probably can continue to build if we simply go out and advocate for it, but we simply have the time only to take emails that come in, and we use it to build up from that. So it continues to grow every month. The production is really simple. It's not a lot of time. The biggest part of my office is that the staff person sends out this note. All right, we need to have the subject matter of the newsletter for the month. And the staff comes together with those key issues, and they really are the key things that are happening in your community. Land use, transportation, health and human services, whatever you're doing, you can put it in. What's neat about the newsletter, it is a large document, but it doesn't overwhelm your email box. You get the front page, I put a message on, the front page goes on with the key subject areas. One person said, I don't read it until maybe a day or two later or when I want to. So you can click on the link and you go to the article. The press releases from our offices go everywhere. And our point is that you really have to work the press these days. And it's changed so significantly. You know, the Washington Post used to be our paper. And then we had lots of editions of a local paper. And now the local papers are electronic. So the challenge you have is you need to really, one, cultivate the relationship, but try and get the locals to do it. I have to say the Patch, which is an electronic piece that I guess 2 years ago, they were the Herndon Observer. And the Herndon Observer went with AOL, and now they are a national neighborhood local paper. And they really are substituting for everybody else that's there. If you are at an event and you want to send out a notice to them that you're doing this event, before you get back home from your event, they've posted your story on their location. And that's a very important piece. The other piece about the Patch and the locals, I send them what I want. And nowadays, the press is gobbling up information. You used to be able to say, I want to write a story, I'm going to research it, I'm going to talk to somebody, and then 2 days later I'm going to produce a story. They don't have time. Their editors want to know what's happening now, how can I get it out to you, to the public. I have to favor the Patch only because I can't keep up with them. Every morning they have a piece that goes out, and they have people planted all over the community. I represent Vienna and Herndon area predominantly, and Reston. And so they have someone that's in each of those. So it's easy for me to reach people and get my story out to them. I put everything that I can think of in a newsletter or an e-blast or in these press releases, because this is the only way I can make certain that I'm connected. It's connecting you with your public. And I have found that there is an amazing response to it. Nobody has said, oh my gosh, I'm tired of hearing from you. Seldom do they tell me they missed the meeting because they didn't hear the announcement. And that's the part that you want. I get very concerned if I go out and I'm talking about an issue and all of a sudden somebody says, well, I never heard about that. Because that's the last thing you want to do, because I think the speaker this morning said that idea that somebody would say, oh, I never heard about that issue as a supervisor, that says something about your lack of communication with it. We include all of the folks that are involved with us as part of what's going on. And we try and link them closely to what we're doing now. The pieces that are really, I wanted to do this one because we include this in the newsletter, we include it in the announcement, but this is actually what goes on the cable show. So they can say, I can say in my newsletter that I did a subject area on, name it, aging in place, a big task force that I'm working on right now. And I interviewed the people on that. And I posted the link to the web page, I posted it in the newsletter, and I gave them the date, and on the web page of the county and my web page, they can get to the video. And they can see that story about aging in place, but they also can get all of the dates about meetings and updates on that meeting. So it keeps them really connected through the video piece. We're also doing YouTube. My staff kind of really wrenches me up. We were doing an announcement about sustainability. And so I just went out, I did my 2 minutes, and posted it up on the web page. There it is. They know the subject. They know the date of the meeting. We came back later and gave them an update with a 2-minute. I at first said, this is overwhelming. You know, do I really need to do this? But you really do need to do it. You really need to do it. And it's reinforcing when you're out into the community. You want people to be aware of what is happening in their community and be engaged in it. And we did a whole array with the cable. We did, the Reston Association is a big homeowner. Reston Association is one of the largest homeowner associations, because it's a community of 60,000 people. So they have a lot of resources, almost to the equivalent of most municipalities. So I use their studio, and I use the high schools. That's a neat one that I do. I'll go over to the high schools and do just a small little thing there. They're learning and doing the same thing, and really they're further off from me.
Real quick, Catherine, and I'm from Reston, I know that's Lake Ann Center, so she picked a great location in her community to shoot this video, and I bet you it was just a simple camera.
Oh, yes, he had a little camera.
Yeah, a phone.
And you can make it as easy as you want. There's so many things that are available. When I do the cable with the county, they have the video, the teleprompter, so that really makes life easy for you rather than sheets of paper that you're doing. We did one of those with that association. He had his iPad, and he has teleprompter software on it. So somebody's standing right there, and you're not worried about trying to get your script right. He's standing with the camera and the iPad, and it has your whole text on it. You never feel like you're going to make a mistake because it's all right there. And that sort of kind of sums it up. But really, it's really trying to make sure that we're getting out as much communication as possible. And I think what we've come up with is that we found out a lot of convenient ways to communicate the message, connect the people, and use really easy tools to do so. And while I have the help of staff, she convinces me it's only a small amount of her work time to get it done, but it just magnifies the amount of information we get out every day. I look forward to your questions. And do you want to take questions?
Sure.
Ma'am? Okay. Okay.
Oops, is now a good time or you want to
Sure,
wait?
sure.
Okay. Yes.
When you do pictures and post those on Facebook or YouTube and you have other individuals in those pictures, do you gain some kind of permission from them or?
Generally we do. I had one that I did with a Boy Scout troop that I went and I made sure that I had the permission on that one. They were in my office and we wanted to use that one. And I had the adult person make sure, and I said to my staff, I need somebody to sign off on that one because parents need to know it. Generally when we're doing these that are easy, if somebody's standing there with us, we say we're going to post it. I'll tell you one that I did during the elections. I'm not as good on Facebook, and so if I'm not doing the pictures and the like, I generally don't get them back to the office. But I was with one of my delegates, and he is excellent. We did 4 events, and before the day was over, he had all 4 of them on Facebook. And he was with me, or he was with a constituent, and it works just fine.
Question.
Thanks. There's one other question.
Yes, the question comes to be, you do your e-blast and all the other type of media you use. Is it a one-way situation? Because if you have 5,600 people, do they all send you back information?
It's bi-directional,
Okay.
and that's the good news part about it. Because you'll see that first page, you see this page, and you'll see it's sometimes the actual email is, there's an email that goes ahead of this, and it just gives a little blib that this is the e-blast or the newsletter. You'll see an email come back and say, either thank me or, oh, by the way, I wanted to let you know. And that's what it does.
Right.
Because now people have an entree directly into getting to you. So it takes a little time to get back to them sometimes, but that's what you want to do.
I send out an email, no fancy pictures or anything. If there's a public hearing that I think my constituents would be interested in, and allow them to send me comments, which I will read into the record if they're not at a meeting, makes them feel like they're involved and part of the public hearing, because they don't always see those little blurbs in the newspaper.
That's a great point. It does not have to be fancy. It could just be the information.
Yes.
What about a older rural community with, I'd say, less than half have internet access?
You saw on the other slide, we try and copy what we have in our e-blasts and our email, our newsletter, and put them in places where we know, with the libraries, community centers, and places like that. We send them over to the senior center just to make sure that they have a copy, because you're right, everybody is not connected, and we try and get a place to do that.
Last one, and then we'll...
Since you've been doing this PR, do you and your office get more questions from your constituency or less? Does it answer more questions or create more questions?
I think it creates more, And here's the good news about that. Too often, if you're not sending something out, you assume you've communicated well to everybody. And what happens is it gives them a vehicle. I'll give you a quickie and it won't take long. We're having a traffic calming program going in a neighborhood, and some of the neighbors said they were very anxious by it. And when we said, you know, here's an answer, and they circulated it, they then got the e-blast, and when we went to the board to announce it, then they got information about it. I won't say everybody, but a lot of people then told me what they thought about it, which is exactly what you want.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Before we bring John up, I just want to relay a little story. I won't name the name of the paper or the name of the institution, but there was a college athletic program that had a problem with this one newspaper and the way they covered college athletics, their teams. Negative all the time, negative all the time, negative all the time. And this went on for years, and they didn't know how to solve the problem. Well, they figured, hey, we have our own resources to produce our own stories on game day. So what they did is they hired the writer from that newspaper to work on their website, and that writer covered the games for that institution with that institution's slant. And that's basically, I mean, you're taking control, you're empowering yourself, and doing your own communication. Anyway, let's bring in John here. This past week, John won his second term, right? As Russell County Supervisor. 2 years ago, he ran for Lieutenant Governor. After receiving his education in business and engineering, John worked for Fortune 10? Is that right? Fortune 10 company, which eventually led him to Southwest Virginia. There he started his own energy management company out of his garage. Through hard work, EMATS Inc. Went from a small operation to a company of over 200 employees in several states. John uses Facebook and Twitter regularly to communicate to his constituents. He has more than, and I think I checked this past week, 3,300 followers on Facebook.
34, 5.
Okay, 34. It's increased a little bit. Please welcome John Bauer.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you. We're going to pull it up on the online there, but that's all right. We don't need to do that. My friend is Kathy here, reminds me of Joanna Hines. You don't know who Joanna Hines is, so I assume she's still around. She was the young lady who sit next to me in grade school. No matter how hard I worked, no matter how well I thought I'd done on a project or a spelling paper or math grade, Joanna was always one step ahead of me.
That's a high one there.
It is, but, you know, this here's some powerful stuff here. It really is. She does yeoman-like work and stuff. Now, the question you received there, how does it work in counties where you've got 20% internet access? That would be Russell County, Virginia. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But I think the fact that I'm participating in this forum today indicates that you can be effective by using social media, no matter what the penetration is from the internet. I know that down in Southwest Virginia, I've seen some of my friends out in the audience from Southwest Virginia. We have a limited availability, and it's not improving anytime soon. But you guys have heard the statistics that you've got more power here in this little BlackBerry than was used, I've heard, to put a man on the moon in 1969. I don't know if that's true or not, but the fact of the matter is you've got a very powerful tool. You really do. It can be used to disseminate information to constituents, to improve the constituent services. It can be used as a political tool, as a social tool. I use it, I guess, for all of those things. Twitter, I've got about 600 followers on Twitter, not a lot. You know, that's whatever you can type in 140 characters. Whatever you can type in. So I typically make a Twitter post once a day. Religiously, I'll find something to tweet about. how much engagement is tied to their consumer.
It's actually Jim Campbell's.
Okay, well, there you go. Very nice. See, that's a story all to itself. And you're going to find that you're going to have your neighbors, your friends, who perhaps might be interested in what you're going to say, but you're also going to find that the press will pick it up. We talked about, you listed the publications up there in Fairfax. You know, the Washington Post doesn't have much of a beat staff anymore to go get stories. They look to find stories. And that's one way, if you feel you've got an issue you want to get out there. That's one avenue which is instantaneous. It goes to your how many followers you've got, and they may what's called retweet, which is then sent to theirs. So it can be an exponential impact. You know, like throwing a rock in a pool, you know, the ripples can go out pretty quickly. Now, that's both good and bad, you know. Once it's out there, it's out there. Those tweets are stored. I'm sure we got some legal folks in the audience, but I know for a while that they're being stored at the Library of Congress. So whatever you put out there is fair game, not just today, but 10 years from now, somebody will go back and research them. So a couple of words of caution when it comes to Twitter. You know, you can sign up and you've got a 5-digit PIN number you do to access your account. From personal experience, I would not store that 5-digit PIN number in your device. I would physically go in and type whatever your number is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then pull up your Twitter feed, then type your whatever you think is profound that you need to tell everybody, and then send it. Several times before I did that, when I was campaigning for Lieutenant Governor, for example, I'd be on I-81 like I was most of my life. And, you know, I write something down, I'd be communicating with other people, text messaging. And, you know, back then when I had a 20-year-old son who was going to be in tech, and, you know, had like 20-year-old kids, just like I was when I went to Michigan. You know, sometimes he goes to class, sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's doing the right thing, sometimes he's not. But me being a parent, when I get up to them and say, hey, Phil, get up and go to class or something. But if you're not careful, and sometimes you can write more profound statements than that. Stronger word. And if you have the wrong, if you pull up the wrong key by mistake and you hit send, and you posted that to 500, 600 people. Now, I usually got a couple of friends out there who will send something right back to you. So, hey, John, you might want to check on Twitter first, buddy. But the fact of the matter is, it's still a permanent record. So I don't know how many tweets I've got, probably 3,000 or 4,000 out there. I also like to use it as a diary, to be quite honest with you. It gives me the ability to have a permanent reference to what I've done. You know, it's kind of like an electronic short form of what the heck you've been up to, what you think is important. You can use it to talk about meetings, like you mentioned. If you've got a public hearing you want to get out, you can use it for that purpose. Keep in mind, it's only going to the people that you've got that are following you. Okay? And you can go out and solicit folks to follow you if you want, and vice versa. Me being, you can go back and you can see who people's followers are. You can tell a lot about a person by what they have an interest in, social, political, governmental, and vice versa. Keep in mind, I have my accounts completely open. In other words, I don't bar anyone from posting or unposting on my accounts, which means you've got to be vigilant. You've got to check it. Now, I was moving into Facebook. I got about, like I said, about close to 3,500 people that are my friends on Facebook. Now, they're not all my friends, obviously. I don't know them on a first-name basis. We don't send birthday cards to each other. But I do do a birthday greeting to everyone every day. Don't miss that. If you decide to do something like that, do not discontinue that. Because folks will say, well, geez, John, you can send me a happy birthday greeting. The fact of the matter is, you were busy. Like I was drinking single malt Scotch whiskey last night. I didn't have time to do my birthday greeting. So there's 12 people yesterday better know that Barrow didn't pay attention to me. That is not good. The key is keep doing it if you're going to do it. Commit to do it. When you translate it into the political side of things, I think when you run for political office, whether it be countywide like I did, or statewide, or even with a couple of magnets. Still, if you're going to use that Facebook account to get information out, to post pictures of where you've been, to post videos about what you want to talk about, folks are going to pay attention. Because if they repost your Facebook post 3,500 times, I don't know what the average is, that goes to thousands of people. They'll get back to you. Don't let your messages sit in your inbox for too long. You know, I would say 2-3 days would be as long as you want to leave them. Because it's kind of like when you used to, remember when we had the big answering machines, the phone about as big as this? Right here. Remember we used to carry them in both hands? It's the same kind of philosophy. When you leave a message with someone on the voicemail system, mentally you think that person got that message right then and there. And you think, why didn't Billy Bob call back? Joe Tom. Same thing with a Facebook message. Folks take the time to send in your message, they're going to expect an answer. And they're going to be, sometimes they're crazy questions, like you cut your hair, obviously no one in my case. Or you're going to get important questions, that person like, when are you going to gravel my road? When are you going to work on the public safety issue at this intersection? They like to have an answer. Because it's just one-on-one communication, I do not believe, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I don't claim to be, I don't think you have to maintain a record of those communications, although it is advisable. But you know, if you've got 3,500 friends, you have a message coming, that's a lot of paper. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense, really. The lawyers tell you to make a paper copy of an electronic data item. So that's the advice I've heard time and time again. And periodically print off your Twitter and or your Facebook posts and responses. Like I said, I've got a open account. You can go online today and post any kind of question. Sometimes the people sending information are not as, and I'm not very savvy with computers. I mean, I used to teach computer science in colleges as a grad assistant. The industry's passed me way by. I mean, I used to be on the cutting edge of that stuff 30 years ago. I'm on the cutting end of this stuff right now. Technology keeps on improving. Don't take it wrong, but I don't see anyone in here that can't consume an alcoholic beverage. Okay? Find someone that can't. They're pretty savvy on these things. My 4th grader can change ringtone. She can post things on my Facebook account. That's why I don't have a number in here. I mean, they are very, very technologically savvy, a lot more than our generation is. With the exception of Joanna Hines over here, obviously. But like I said, just be careful with it. It's a powerful tool. It's very inexpensive. It is free. Free. Everyone around here can talk about budgets and finance and problems like that. But I mean, you can do this. You can get information out. You can receive information back. You can be quite effective communicating one-on-one if you choose to. Whether it be political, whether it be social, whether it be constitutional services. These are very powerful tools. I've got a couple of Facebook pages. One is just John Bower Bank, and that's one that's where most of the people come in, and it's open-ended, in-and-out type communication. And then I've got another one set up. I think yours is you control access to it, right? Yeah, which is what they recommend you to do. And I guess I go against the norm on that, because I like to get communication back and forth. I like to be more interactive. But that comes with some inherent problems. You've got to maintain it and look into it. But they're very powerful tools. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Okay, I'm telling you. If I can do it, you all can do it. I would sync your email addresses on your Twitter and your Facebook accounts to whatever standard email you want to use, and I would get down to one device for all your emails, and that's critically important. If you carry multiple phones around, if you like me, if you've got 3, you know what 2 are, maybe 1 on a bad day. Control the access to it. Be vigilant with the way you maintain your data and your posting. Like I said, befriend a young person that can give you some tech advice. Post videos, you can do that. I mean, it's quite a powerful tool. It really is. Look at my notes here, something else I want to mention to you. No, I think that's about it. You know, posting YouTube videos is a lot easier. I mean, when you run for the political office on a big stage, you've got trackers usually following you around, recording everything you say, what you do. And those videos can get posted on your opponent's website pretty doggone quickly. For example, I had a U.S. Senate race in Dickinson County, of all places. So we've got the video of Governor Allen. I mean, that was up on the internet within 24 hours. And that was a long time before Facebook and Twitter became prominent. So now it's real-time data can get online. So be careful what you say. You say what you mean. But use these tools. They're very cost-effective and they're very powerful. Sir?
What do you think about the world of blogging? Do you blog any?
You know what? When we were looking at our statewide run almost 4 years ago, that's one of the first things we did was go out and hire a new media person. Because that's how you get your name out, especially when you're coming from Russell County, Virginia, 6.5 hours away from Joanna Hines' home. You have to, you've got to figure out some way to get your message out. And it was very powerful 4 years ago. I'm not sure it's as powerful today as it was, I think, because now folks have the ability to do Facebook and Twitter themselves. You're almost your own blogger, believe it or not. But a blog is kind of like an online newsletter, is mine. Gage, you tell me, what would you call it? You're the expert in this conversation.
There is a new blogging equivalent to Facebook called Tumblr, T-U-M-B-L-R. I've explored it a little bit, but the problem I feel like with blogging is, it just is, if you just blog a sentence or two, people might read it, but blogs tend to be a lot longer.
They do.
And I mean, if you could read 140 characters or a whole article, some people choose just the short information, especially if you're pitching it to if it's an event or something,
But once you start blogging, you can't stop.
Yeah,
But you can. I mean, Chad Peterson up in Northern Virginia, what's his Ox Road South, I believe this is, and he posts a lot to it.
But if you like that, explore Tumblr before Facebook. I mean, it is made for blogging. Tumblr.
Facebook has no spell check too, by the way. Keep that in mind, okay? What you put in goes out. Sir?
Yeah, my mental model on this social networking and all, especially if you are an elected official, isn't it true that you must be careful as to who's on that other side, because it could be classified as a meeting that has not had public output. In other words, I've identified that you're having a public meeting, because it could be you, one of your other constituents, and another one, and that may be a quorum in your district. And now you're deciding fates of your locality over social media.
I don't believe a public post is going to get you in trouble from that perspective. If it is, I'm obviously in big trouble. I think we get yourself in problems where if you're communicating directly. In our case, we're a 7-member board now, and I'm communicating with 3 members at the same time. Or, even more interesting from an email perspective, if you're communicating to you, you're on my board, and I'm communicating with you, and another one over here who's on my board, and we're communicating pretty quickly by email, that would be construed as a meeting too. So even though you're not communicating 2 at a time, the proximity, the way the Commonwealth of Virginia interprets that, would be a meeting. And that would be a problem. If it ever got out.
It's going to get more interesting in that, because if you go Google Plus, it's just been opened because it's alternate to Facebook. It does allow you to have, I think it's 5 or 7 that you can have online visually at any one time.
Right.
So the possibility of, and I know the electronic meeting issues have begun to change over there.
Yeah, if you had just a chat between 2 or 3 members, that would obviously be illegal. You cannot do that. It's the same thing as being on a street corner in the eyes of the law. So that's why I keep mine completely open and post it. One word of caution. I'm a Democrat. running down to Southwest Virginia, a little tough in this environment. So anyway, I don't know how they put the pictures on Facebook, okay? I'll tell you that right now. I don't know how they do that. I do know, though, that my guys working on my campaign decided they were going to tweak a few pictures on mine. Got pictures with Warner and Kane and the president on there. So they took them down and they put them back up. And I didn't realize that neither did they, obviously. They're still working there, but I mean, those pictures then get posted to all your 3,500 Facebook friends. So posting those pictures is a little bit problematic to me 2 weeks out in election in Southwestern Virginia. So be careful how you put the information on there. Make sure you got someone that knows what they're doing, or be prepared to suffer the slings and the arrows. Okay? So it's pretty complicated, it's very, very powerful, and it's very cost effective, I guess, is my message. Yeah.
Yes, I worry, maybe it's just being from a rural area. But I worry that if I put stuff out every day and put it out, then I'm kind of like spamming those, that it begins to be annoying, and how do you judge that?
They'll drop you as a friend if they don't want to hear your stuff. I mean, that's how they take care of you. That report you as spam and you're toast when you're communicating that to that person. So I would err on the side and just make them reasonable and post which at least factually based, unless it's a pure social type initiative. Let the powers work as they feel like it. I wouldn't be too concerned about that.
Like Kathy said.
Not everyone's going to like what you say.
They'll tell you.
They'll unsubscribe, like Kathy said.
Yeah, they'll just punch you.
And
Don't take it personally when you do that.
I think how critical and important information is to, on that last slide where we did the storm on September, whatever date that was, it was horrible. We got the information from the transportation